back to the Truck Driver Sean channel. I have Park from Park's Custom Pedals, and he is my co-owner and I guess the only one that actually knows how to build a pedal for TDS effects. I'm working on it though. We'll have a video on that a little bit later, but that's Park. A lot of people have been asking about him.
Also been a guitar tech for the weekend.
Yeah, he's fixed a lot of shit. Did a lot of pickup installations. Yeah. So we are here today with the Grendel MK-II. As y'all know, I love the Grendel, and I'm going to say the same thing for this as I did the original one. That's why I'm using a modeler. I'm using the Neuro Quad Cotex, and I have Amp Guru profiles, Cali with the Dieback, which is my favorite profile by him. Definitely check out Amp Guru. I'm not saying that because he's telling me I have to or he's paid me or anything. Literally, if you go in there and you look, I got the factory stuff and I got his, and if you look, see which ones I use the most, every single one of them is Amp Guru. They're just fucking good. And I like the fact there's no IRs in it. So I could do stuff like use this power amp, because the biggest complaint we have, if you're a true amp guy, like myself, obviously I like amplifiers. I have one or two of them. This tube, all tube, power amplifier turns this modeler into a real amplifier of sorts. Using IRs and stuff, it's not as good as a real speaker. Sorry, it just isn't. But this takes and puts life into a otherwise lifeless unit, right? I mean, the modelers are good. I'm not here to have an argument with amp versus modeler. I think they both have their place, and nowadays, even the shitty ones are done pretty fucking good. Let's face it, if you need to do something with them, you can get by. So gear used today, I have my Gorilla Telly. Tuned half step down drop, so I'm in drop C sharp. I'm using the Cali Dieback through the Cotex into the RedBeard Grendel MK-II, which is going into my custom arachnid cab, which my fat ass is blocking and Park's short little ass is blocking the other one. He's extremely short. I have his chair literally jacked up 1.5 feet taller than mine. So we look the same size. Do the same thing to the grandkids.
My feet barely touch the floor.
It's no joke. They really do barely touch the floor. That's hilarious. I didn't even notice that till now. That's awesome. All right. So what makes this different than the MK-I? You actually have full EQ choices on this. So you still have what you had in the first one. You got volume, you got presence, you got resonance, which are always available. And then you have an EQ section now with bass, mids, and treble that you can turn on and off. You can bypass the EQ. Pretty simple, right? So let's, shit, I don't even know how to bypass the... I'm still new with the Cortex, so you're going to have to give me a break here. I don't know how to bypass the Cortex. So you're not going to hear just what that sounds like at first. Get to it in reverse. I'm going to show you what it sounds like with the Cali. We'll play with the knobs, and then I'll unhook the Cali and plug directly in and show you what that sounds like. I probably should have researched that before I made this video, but I'm a fucking dum-dum. Alright, so let's just make some noise, because noise is good. It's like first thing in the morning, and I want to be noisy.
Now, you got the EQ section on, or you just have the off?
Just so you know, when I push that button in, they can't hear you, and it just looks like you're talking to yourself.
Oh, I didn't know you pushed the button, so.
You didn't hear that?
I did hear it, but I wasn't paying attention.
This is what I get to deal with. What's your question again?
Question is the EQ section on the amp now, or is it, or are you using this?
It is off.
Okay.
It's off.
Okay.
Sorry about the extra noise, but this doesn't say whether it's on or off. But down is off, up is on. Okay. So right now, no EQ. This is just straight Cotex into the RedBeard. Cortex going into the RedBeard. So the depth and presence, not resonance, it's depth, which is the same fucking thing. We'll tinker around with the depth, and then we'll tinker around with the presence. Here we go. Alright, so that, thank you Park by the way, that's the presence of the depth being played around with. So
quite a range on it.
Yeah, very useful. Again, you're taking a modeler and now you'll be able to behave like an actual amplifier. So what we're going to do now is we're going to turn on the EQ. Now when you turn on the EQ, you're going to notice a massive drop. But remember, without the EQ on, you're going to assume that everything is jacked to the sky. And if you turn up your bass, you turn up your mids, and you turn up your treble, it's going to be louder because you're adding more. And you take away, it's going to be less. So I'll show you what it sounds like when it's flipped off onto on. Okay, so now we got it, so we're able to use the actual EQ. So this is like, I'm just going to have Park randomly play with these and let him dial it in, because I'll dial it into the same thing I always do, so let him have fun. I'll just wiggle around on the fretboard. So as you can see, this sounds awesome. You can get something smaller than a head, unless you're playing through mini heads. It's completely clean, which I'm going to show you now. I'm going to put this on standby just to...
How many watts is it?
50.
Okay.
It's 50 hardwired watts, by the way, which is different than... Just need to stick it in this hole right here. Can you get it in the hole?
Well, I need a little slack.
That's what she said.
You're on standby.
I knew that. So this is with it on standby? Yeah, I totally meant to say this is with the EQ on. This is with the EQ off. Alright, so she does have a little bit of grit in the single chain. It could be because this pickup is very hot, punchy. Could be that. It just could be because there's a little bit of grit in it. Fuck to find out. But anyway, it is a good unit. I didn't like it at first because I didn't like the drop off, but then I realized, like, oh hey, I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. But sitting with it, you can take your modeler and you can really make it like a real amp using real cabs, getting tons of noise from your fucking cell phone because people don't leave you alone.
Plenty of power.
Plenty of, oh yeah, this thing will get dumb fucking loud. Right now I basically have it turned off and it's loud enough. I got a headache, but I'm also sitting like
3 feet.
not even maybe a foot and a half, 2 feet at tops from a very loud speaker cab. But yeah, very cool. You're looking at about $1,000 for this, and in typical RedBeard truck driver Sean fashion, we have the Mark I, which will no longer be available. He's just going to go straight to making these because the improvements, one of the improvements was made is it's not front heavy anymore, so you don't have to worry about tipping. That was my biggest complaint. The only other complaint I have about this one is I do miss the red glowing light on the inside. Don't cheap out on the red lights, motherfucker. And just saying, the red lights are healthy. I like the new logo. The new logo is it's tits on, and it's built metal. Heavy metal. It's heavy. That's like midget heavy. You know how midgets are tiny, but they're really dense? Ah, dang. I'm not picking on you because you're short. Literally, have you ever picked up a midget before?
No, I have not. Huh. But I see your concept. I see where you're going.
Alright.
It's just fun.
I picked up a midget before. They're heavy. Really, like, deceptively heavy. But it's fantastic. It does the job. It gets things done quite well. And none for nothing. You can spend $1,000 on this, or you can spend a lot less on other stuff, but what kind of quality of stuff do you want? How do you want it to perform? That is what you have to ask yourself. But if someone is interested in buying the used and abused version 1 of this, he's letting it go for $650 shipped. That's a good fucking deal. Granted, it has been used. I took it out on the road. It has seen a life. It's perfectly functioning. It functions great. I probably should have unboxed it and used it to show the difference on this, but I didn't want this video to be 6 hours long. because I got a lot of shit to do today. And I only have access to Park for today and maybe a little bit early in the morning, and then he goes back to Indiana. So, yeah, good times. Anyhow, Grendel MK-II. If you want any information on RedBeard stuff, go to redbeardamplification.com. Okay? Catch you next video. See you later. Bing.